me. In those days, God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. My dear friends, when Israel was called by God as a nation, as his own children, he loved them. And to the extent that he didn't want them to go against him. So to give them a guide, God gave them these commandments, now we call the 10 Commandments. It was out of love that God gave them these commandments. And you see, the Israelites were so conscious of God to the extent that in order to make these words of God, you shall not have any other gods before me, besides me, apart from me. That's what it means actually. Now look, I am God. I have no exchange. This is what we call the monopoly of God. The monopoly of God. God has no equal. He is himself. He cannot be compared to anyone. So to make these words become active and become active in terms of their own lives, they built the temple. To become a constant reminder that they are supposed to have no other God than this one who created the heavens and the earth. So the temple was a place to encounter God. And you hear in the gospel today, you hear Jesus coming to this same temple. And then what did he find? It's people who are doing business in the house of God. And then he wasn't happy. In the end, he had to sack them out of the temple because they had turned something of worship into business making. In a few minutes left, I'll reflect with some attitudes that you should have about the temple of God. So let's watch them. These attitudes I'm going to mention. I'll mention a few of them for the sake of time. But I want you also understand that this temple is not just the physical body we are having here, but your own temples, which we carry everywhere. You have them here, you have them in our homes, at our offices. You see, God has given us temples of our bodies so that anywhere we are, we can still know that He is with us and we are with Him. Because these bodies have now become the spiritual temples of God. Attitude number 1 is that the temple must be a place to meet the person Jesus. The person Jesus. You see, there's a story of a man, an Air Force officer, in the Second World War. You know, after he had gone for a bombing expedition, we are told, he came down to the officers' mess to have a drink. And when he was there, this man overheard one of the officers with his girlfriend. And the girlfriend was talking to his officer, the officer there. He said, look, I love Jesus. I pray to him every day. Jesus is a person. That officer wasn't Christian anyway. So when they heard Jesus, the woman, the girlfriend of this officer was saying Jesus was a person, he couldn't believe that. Jesus, a person? We are told that a man went to a library to read more about Jesus. He went on to pray. He was converted. He became Catholic. He gave himself to the person Jesus. If you come to church, you come to this temple, if this body of yours, this temple of yours, doesn't encounter the person of Jesus, Jesus the person, then you have not started. Every temple of God, every house of God, every temple of every human being must first and foremost seek to have that encounter with the Jesus the person. Not the Jesus written in the books, but the Jesus who has now become a person because you can encounter him. Encounter him. This must be the attitude of the temples we have. Attitude number 1. And no wonder when Jesus went to a temple and saw those men who had changed that attitude from that person, a personal encounter with God, to something else, he wasn't happy. Let us watch it. Let us not substitute the person of Jesus for any other business. Attitude number 2 about the temple. We are told that when he went to the temple, Jesus, the people have turned into a marketplace. Don't make your temples marketplaces. Have this attitude. The temple is not a place for doing market, for doing business. Even to the extent that we are told that they were changing money. See, some of us, our temples have become forest bureaus. Forest bureaus. You know, when you go to a forest bureau, my dear sister, my dear brother, the thing is that you are going there for a service and then you go away. So you go there because there's a service you are going to render or going to receive. You see, if you reduce your temple, if you reduce your religion to give and take, buy and sell, forest bureau, you are missing a point. These temples of ours and these physical temples we are not for forest bureau businesses. We don't come to the house of God to make friends. That should be secondary. You don't come to the house of God to make business contacts for business advantages. That is secondary. If you reduce your temple worship, reduce the religion of your life to just business, forest brewing, so to say, you are missing it. So let's guard against that attitude. Because some of us, that is our attitude of a temple. Well, I'm joining that society, that church, so that I can be taken care of. Welfare is your main reason for being a Christian, a Catholic. Because you want to meet somebody, because you want to get that business, please, you are not making it. Guard against this attitude, he says, preach against in the temple. Men and women changing, misusing the temples and turn them to marketplaces, place of business. Our bodies are not for business making, they are for worshiping God. So let us not exchange these bodies for any pleasure, even outside. They are for God. They are for God. Attitude number 3, you must guard against your temples. We are told that Jesus was not happy. He made a whip and then he drove them out. The truth is that Jesus was angry. But in Lenten season, I want to propose to you this attitude to anger. Seek for holy anger. Holy anger. This anger has been qualified. In the sense that holy anger is an anger that is against sin and possibly injustice. It's an anger against anything that God doesn't like, God wouldn't allow. Because Jesus was angry because what they were doing there, God wouldn't stamp it. He had holy anger for God to the extent that he had to drive them out in the temple. I pray that we shall turn all our negative angers this Lent into holy angers. So that sin will be something we shall be fighting. We should be angry with sin so much that sin wouldn't come our way. That should be our driving point. That should be the attitude you should have on anger. Now, God, can you help me? God, help me. That this Lent, my anger will be an anger against sin and injustice. Turning our negative angers into holy angers. This is the attitude we should have for these temples we have. Our bodies, our consciences. Possibly, for the sake of time, I'll take the last attitude. Then we are told that when Jesus had done all these, people started believing in him because of the miracles he was doing. But then he didn't notice them. He didn't pay any attention to them because he knew them all. The fourth attitude you should watch about your temples. Don't seek popular acclamation. Popular acclamation. Some of us, that's what we are looking for. Fame. You're looking for fame, popular acclamation. That people say, oh, that's how he is. People praising you left and right, as we shall say. Don't let your temple, your desire, religion be reduced to popular acclamation, seeking public opinion, seeking public acclamation. You see, St. John Meriviani, that policeman of God, he used to tell his friends that, look, don't look for people's approval, but look for the approval of God and the angels. Say, they are your public. They are your public. So let us guard against that. In Lenten season, these are the things you have to watch against, the attitude you should have. That we don't do things because we want people to see and praise us. If you do that, Jesus will say you have had your reward. Do things that God in heaven will see and bless you and praise you. That will last here and then beyond. With these words, I pray that unlike the people who were selling and doing business in the temple, we shall turn our temples, the temples of God, our bodies, the holy bodies God has given us, to become indeed his temples, to the extent that they shall be for God and God alone. It's not easy, but it's possible, because his grace is sufficient for us. Go to confession this Lent, to have the grace to fight against all these attitudes that sometimes can push us down. Make confession your tool, your weapon, to have your temple reserved for God, always and everywhere. May God bless us today and always. Amen.